This is a talk I get asked to give again and again, so I wanted to bring it to you. It's called Full Plates, Empty Cups. And if you've ever felt like you're running on empty but don't know why, you're going to want to take notes on this one. I'm Robyn Coffman, board-certified Christian counselor, and we're going to discuss the 10 reasons why your soul is thirsty and what to do about it. So let's get into it. Full plates, empty cups, a woman's thirst for soul care. I think that's just an incredible image. If we look at plate as being your life and how you show up to it, and your cup being your soul and how filled and content and at rest it is. Psalm 107:9 says, "For he has satisfied the thirsty soul, and the hungry soul he has filled with what is good." I actually heard someone use that phrase, "Gosh, I have a full plate, but my cup's empty." And I can't remember who said it, but that just resonated and stuck with me. We live in a time and a culture where we are consistently outpacing our soul. They polled and show that 80% of people right now feel worn down and weary and tired. 90% feel an ache of emptiness in some part of your life. It's a lot, and yet we want to show up well. We know we have one life to live, and we want to raise these babies with a healthy mom intact on most days. Doesn't have to be every day, but most days. So what do we do about this? We're going to talk through 10 indicators or soul markers to know how or when your soul is really thirsty. What are you doing that's creating that thirst? And then at the end, we're going to talk about what do we do about filling the cup back up. The first one, I know my soul is thirsty when I don't accept and respect the size of my plate. Our plate size is unique to who we are and how God designed us. But culture kind of puts out this dominant picture of what it should like for a woman to be or a mom to be this. And I can even trick myself in saying, you know what? I'm a platter-sized woman. Honestly, if I were to accept and respect, I'm much more size of a salad plate. I'm an introvert. I need slow. I get overwhelmed fast, and yet the demands of my life often are platter size, and so I'm in this tension. Anyone? So when I don't recognize my capacity, which is basically what the size of the plate means, it's recognizing your capacity and your limits. Like, I can't put a platter size on here or I'm going to burn out. Yet how many times do I do? Because I say yes to one more thing. I used to be conscientious and upset about my limits because I felt like, well, so-and-so seems to be able to do that easily. Why can't I? Until I realized my limits are God-given. Your limits are God-given in order to protect your strengths. If we don't put a limit to all our yeses, we never really develop the pieces that God put in us to be our strengths, unique to us to bring to this world. Number 2, I don't assign value to what's on my plate. I know you guys care about what your kids eat, and if it's up to them, they would go for goldfish 24/7 or whatever the sugary snack of choice. We do the same thing in how we choose to engage in life. And a lot of us don't pause long enough to see if what's on my plate, what I allow into my life, has value. Is it nutriently rich for my soul that I engage with this or with this person? Because if I'm honest,
kind of toxic, but we've always been friends. So I wouldn't know how to create some distance there. And that costs our soul. Or we just fill it up with filler food or empty calories where we're just, scrolling on social media, just numbing out. And there's a time and place to take a break, but I think you know what I mean, right? Just pause and notice what's on your plate and assign value to it. Number 3, I don't consider the cost of what I put on my plate. I may love doing XYZ, and it does fill my cup, but have I considered not just what it costs me, but maybe my family, because I'm out X amount of nights of the week, or I am not present to them because I am totally absorbed in this book or show or whatever it might be. The cost isn't just something we can calculate like a receipt on a restaurant bill. When you think about what the cost is to your soul and to your family, I want you to think of 2 things. It's not just time, how much is this going to take up of my time? If something's asked of us, a lot of times we're like, can I fit this in my schedule? No, that is a very elementary way to look at it. We got to get past that. It's not just how much time, but how much weight is it going to take from my soul to truly be present to this in a good way? How weighty is this commitment over time? Because I can lift 20 pounds and hold it for you for 2 minutes, maybe. I can easily lift 2 pounds and hold it for about an hour without really feeling it. But if you ask me that I need to hold that 2 pounds for 24 hours, do you know how weighty that gets? And some of us aren't considering the cost. So think about it over time and weight. Number 4, I don't honor the rim of my plate. Most plates have a significant edge to it, right? Why is that? It creates a margin to protect us from having our food spill over. It says, aim for the center. And some of us don't respect or honor the edge that we need in our life, the margin we need to put in. And so we live to the edge all the time. We just pack it when we're saying I can't say no. This is my only night to go to Target after the kids go down, even though I'm exhausted or whatever it might be. Margins are here to protect us. They're preventive boundaries. When Maddie was little, and it was her birthday morning, and she picks out what she wants to eat, and she picked pancakes and what kind of special plate we'd have. I have this gorgeous plate my mother-in-law gave me that I love. It kind of looks like a snowflake. It's so pretty. And so she wanted her pancakes on this. But if you notice, not only is there no defined margin, it has this uneven edge. And so when she had her pancakes and syrup on this and carrying it to the table, guess what happened? How many of us unintentionally live this way, where we just don't protect ourselves, not just from overextending, but anticipating what may come? You may have a very structured, organized schedule, but then you can get that call. Number 5, I don't trust I will get seconds of what I need most. I don't trust I will get seconds of what I need most. And because we're afraid of that, we usually respond in 3 ways. We'll either rush ourselves and just picture someone truly famished, and you put a plate of food in front of them. They're just going at it. So we'll rush ourselves, or we'll hoard out of fear there's not enough, or we just won't let go. We won't let go of something that we're not supposed to still have in our life because we don't trust that something better is on the other side. All three of these responses come from a scarcity mindset. We don't trust we will be provided for, and that creates anxiety. And then do you see how the loop goes? One year, our family took an epic vacation. It was like what I always wanted for us to experience. And I have selectively forgotten about the moods, getting lost, the sibling fighting in the back seat. And all I can remember is it was glorious because it touched on something rich. We connected really well. I got to see my kids' eyes expand when they saw the world differently. That's what I am treasuring, right? So my desire is, well, when can I do that again? When can I plan that next vacation to serve that same result? But what I'm really after is the thing underneath that is what emotions I experienced in that. I want to tap back into that kind of joy again. I want to tap back into that feeling of fulfillment again. And so if we can figure out what that emotion is that we want more of, well, we can create a lot of beautiful moments to bring that back out. And we don't have to live with such scarcity. You will only have that first Christmas with your firstborn, or whatever the kindergarten graduation, whatever it might be. So you savor that, but you trust those feelings you had in the moment. There's plenty if we respect all these other pieces on our plate, right? Okay, number 6, I don't deal with what's buried at the bottom. Think about Thanksgiving. It's this feast, and you get back to your seat, and there's just an amount of food. By the time you get to what was on the bottom, you're almost full, and you don't deal with it. What this looks like in life, though, is what we usually bury at the bottom is the stuff we don't want to deal with. We want to avoid pain. And so we don't deal with buried at the bottom. We just want to skim the top or eat around that thing that's unresolved. But the longer we do that, our soul stays thirsty because we are not dealing with either the unresolved conflict or the unresolved trauma that is keeping our soul in a panicked, hold your breath state. I've spent my life as a counselor walking people through their hardest days and seeing what comes on the other side when they do. It is well worth the journey. Whether you can remember as a child or you now deal with this with your own children, when they don't want to eat that thing on the plate and they're like the only one sitting at the table 30 minutes after everyone's done and they are just painstakingly chewing. And if you sit next to them, they want you right there. It somehow makes it go down a little better, or at least they can complain in front of you so you can witness how horrible the experience is. That's what we need in life. We need someone to sit next to us when we get to the things that are buried. We need others, and it's okay to ask for it. Just make sure you're asking a trusted person. The longer we avoid this piece of our life, the more the abundant life can't come into ours. John 10:10 says, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I came to give life abundantly. Pause for a moment and think, well, if you were the thief, if you were the enemy out to steal, kill, and destroy yourself, how would you most effectively do that, knowing how you're wired? When we start to get real about that, it can open up a lot of stuff, but it also is the pathway toward getting to an abundant life. Number 7, I don't know when or how to say enough. I usually figure out I'm full an hour after I ate the entire bag of popcorn at the movies, and my stomach says, that probably wasn't a good idea. I need that cue to come way sooner. How many of us need that in our life where we only realize we're overcommitted because now we can't get out of bed. That's too late. To bring health to our soul, we need to get back in touch with our stop cues. God designed us with intuition, and some of us live so detached or fast or mindless that we aren't able to hear our own soul saying, can we slow down? Can we just not? Can I exhale before we move on to the next thing? The result of when we live past our enough and we're spilling past our margins is we get this bloated feeling, just like when we eat, where we live very discontent with an ache that we don't know why it's there, right? And so I would like us to pay attention when our body like flashes with heat, or we get a knot in our stomach, or we feel tingly, or we just start breathing heavy. Our body's already cueing us up saying we're getting too close to the edge. Do you know your cues? We are trained to upsize in our culture. So we just say yes. We think more will help. But again, that's what's creating that soul bloat because it's not being filled up necessarily with the right things. Number 8, I don't give myself permission to enjoy dessert. Now, let me tell you why I have dessert in quotation marks. I am sensitive that there's some of us in this room that have an unhealthy relationship with food, and it's a struggle. And even the word dessert can be triggering. So I'm just acknowledging that and want to respect that if that's what you're experiencing right now. I also would ask if you would let me expand what I mean by dessert for a moment as it relates to our full plates and empty cups. I want you to think of dessert not as a guilty pleasure or just unhealthy sugar. I want you to think of dessert as pleasure. I want you to think of dessert as desire. Desires that God put in your heart, longings that delight you. Pleasure? Are you kidding me? Yeah. Whose responsibility is it to reattach to what you delight in but you? I'm the only one responsible to protect the edges in my life. I can't put that on you. That's not fair to you. In the same way, I get to figure out what I like again, what I want again, what makes me come alive. And some of us feel, well, maybe after all this, I'll get back to that. And I'm wanting to advocate for you, especially as a mom who is tired, who comes in last place pretty much at the table, having a say in what we're going to on the weekend because we've got activities all over, to claim the desires of your heart and do something about that. Do you remember when you were a child and you're with your parents and it's after dinner and the server comes out and says, will anyone be having dessert? And I remember as a child, I look up at my parents and be like, please say yes. Please say yes. Where is your soul longing for you to say, please say yes? It wants you to say yes to this good pleasure and desire that God implanted in you, unique to you, to explore. Number 9, I don't prioritize filling my cup. The cup is what? It's bringing God more into our life, into our every moment. It's prioritizing Him before we prioritize other things. And I know this can quickly lead to guilt. In the morning, first thing, I feel like it's more right to empty the dishwasher than read scripture. And yet the night before, I couldn't bear to look at the dishes, right? Like there's something that just switches and we're like, oh gosh, I don't know. There's so much to do. We don't trust fundamentally that will gain from it. That God truly will satisfy part of that ache when we prioritize filling our cup and spending time with him. And so when we say, yeah, I don't have time, I don't know if anything will come of it, we then start craving and seeking out other things to fill our cup. That has never been designed to be filled by anything but God, which then leads us back into the loop of emptiness, even though we're filled. I want to address the pressure you might feel around that and say it doesn't mean it has to be big or a lot to show that you are prioritizing God. It's just that you're making attention toward him. You're keeping it in the front of your mind, not as the last thought of your day. So if that just means 2 minutes because baby woke up halfway through the nap, 2 minutes of focus on, Lord, I am empty, fill me. I have nothing in my tank, and I can't expect that these 2 minutes are going to make me overflowing, but will you take it as an offering toward that? It's what I have, I'm giving you. So letting it give top attention and stay important to you is what I mean by priority. Not that you have to have an hour quiet time, not that you have to hit it every day. That's not necessarily realistic, right? If your kids aren't even sleeping through the night, like, let's be real. But do you prioritize filling your cup? And then lastly, I don't sit long enough to have my cup filled. And that might be out of avoidance because, oh gosh, I know he's going to stir up some things and probably some of the things that I buried at the bottom. I don't want to go there, so I want to avoid sitting long enough for that to happen. Ecclesiastes tells us there is a time for everything. And if you know you have a whole lot of unprocessed stuff, yeah, as a young mom, this might not be the right time to pull that off the shelf. But the other thing we do is we just live in a distracted culture. We are very impatient, and we can hardly text anymore. We'd rather just audio text because even that's faster. And so here's the thing I want you to know. The way you grow is you have to get to the edge of your comfort. You got to get to the end of the edge of your comfort and at the beginning of the edge of what feels challenging. So if I always stay in my comfort zone, I'm never going to grow. If I always live fully challenged, I'm going to be so intimidated, I'm going to just give up. We got to find the edge between tipping out of what's comfortable to us and allowing ourselves to feel a challenge, and that's where we grow. So if you can stay in connection with God a little bit longer than you're comfortable with, that's when you're going to see growth. And that's uncomfortable. But I have a feeling you're here that you want to be the kind of mom offers more to your child than anyone else can in the world. And that means your child needs a mom that's growing. How do I quench the thirst of my soul? It's easier than you think, and it's going to take investment. So what I want you to do, if you took notes on these 10 things, what I want you to do right now is I want you to cross off the first 2 words of every statement, which should be I don't. And then see what's left in the sentence. That is your remedy. Let's just run through this. 1, I accept and respect the size of my plate. I don't fight it. This is who I am, and I'm not going to apologize for it, and I'm going to trust it's enough. Number 2, I assign value to what's on my plate. I just don't live mindless anymore. Is this good for me? Is this nurturing and bringing nutrition to my soul? 3, I will start considering what I put on my plate and really protect my yeses and my nos. 4, I will honor the edge of my plate. I will respect my limits and my capacity in this season of life. 5, I will trust that I will get seconds of what I need most. I will not live in scarcity thinking. 6, this is one that takes a little more courage. I will deal with what's buried at the bottom. And if I know I'm in too vulnerable a place to do that now, I will at least make a commitment to my soul. You can count on me. I won't abandon you. Number 7, know when and how to say enough. Learn your stop cues again. 8, I will give myself permission to enjoy dessert, as we defined it. The desires of our heart that bring us pleasure and delight and joy that God wants us to have. 9, I will prioritize filling my cup. And 10, I will sit in it long enough to have my cup filled. Now that's a lot. All I want you to do is mark 1, maybe 2 of the 2 that you know is this is where I need to start first. This is where my soul is saying, can we please? I'd like to not hold my breath around this any longer than I have to anymore. What is your entry point to satisfy the thirst of your soul?
I'm curious, which of the 10 will you focus on this week? Leave a comment. And if this talk resonated with you, here's your next step. I've written a 5-day free Bible plan on the Bible app called A New Version of You. The link is in the description. Here's to unlocking more.